Hey, what's up guys, it's TechZoomer talking to you here, and in today's video I want to talk about the iPhone 15 leaks because we got more information and some new renders on this design, and I'm really excited to show you guys these new renders because they are beautiful, and the iPhone 15 is more looking like less of an upgrade than we are thinking. Yes, kinda disappointing saying this, but it's true. The iPhone 15 is going to have some changes, but it's not going to be as big as you were thinking. And this is important because every single year, in the beginning of the year, in the beginning of the iPhone cycle, we are thinking that next year's iPhone is going to be super exciting, filled with new features. But as you can see, and has been proven for several years, at the beginning of the iPhone cycle, we think the next iPhone is going to be huge, but later on, when we get close to the launch, like it's happening right now, when Apple finishes mass production, or at least starts producing the phones but finishes development, then we realize that the iPhone 15, or in that case the newer iPhone, is not going to be as big as we are thinking and as filled with features as we are thinking. Now, the iPhone 15 is going to be a redesign. Still, the iPhone 15 is still going to feature USB-C, but there are some things that you will see later on the design that you understand what I'm saying. So, if you are excited, do not forget to drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. I'm returning to the usual content of leaks, news, but let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed my other videos talking about drones, and of course, my iPhone's camera settings, what's on my iPhone. Let me know of that on the comments below. Let's get started. So, the iPhone 15 is rumored to have a redesign, and as we know, this design is going to be more curved on the edges. So, imagine less of these, the iPhone 13 Pro Max's design, but more of the iPhone X, XS design. Not as exaggerated as those phones, so it's not going to be curvy, it's going to be a lot closer to the iPhone 13, 14 design. But the edges that you can see right here, they are very sharp. Now they're going to be more rounded off, so they are not going to cut into your hand as much, so your phone will be more comfortable to hold during long periods of time. I think Apple will call this a refinement of the iPhone's design. That's true. This is just a refinement, no big changes coming to the design. The camera bump was also rumored to be smaller, which is kind of a bummer because every time that Apple increases the camera bump, there's a sign that a big camera improvement is coming. But maybe this year Apple just wants to stale out the camera development and refine the 48 megapixel sensor that, in my opinion, still needs some touches from Apple. But of course, there's also the fact that Apple is adding USB-C to the iPhone. And this is important because USB-C is, if you don't know, the big port, the biggest port on the planet. It's used by computers, tablets, accessories, drones, so many things that use USB-C now. And Apple, if they adopt Lightning, then it's the final blow. The iPhone is the last product that does not have USB-C on the mainstream technology world. And now, Apple adding USB-C to the iPhone is signaling every other company that USB-C is the future. USB-C is the future for sure, in my opinion. We have the Mac, we have the iPad, we have every single smartphone other than the iPhone to have USB-C. So Apple adding USB-C, it's a big win for us, the consumers. I will only need one cable to charge my iPad, my drone, my iPhone, my computer, my cameras, and that's it, I think. That's really cool. Every single device that I own, tech gadget, will charge via USB-C, and I'm super excited for that future. Other things coming with USB-C could be Thunderbolt port. The Thunderbolt port could be a huge improvement for the iPhone Pro model because it will enable us, pros, to transfer files much faster. The iPhone takes too long to transfer files. In my opinion, it should take 1/4 of the time. For example, if I want to transfer a huge file that is like 70 gigs, ProRes footage from my iPhone, then it will take me around half an hour to do so on the iPhone with Lightning. If I had USB-C with Thunderbolt, maybe like 1-2 minutes. That's insane. That's like saving 30 minutes of your work, like 98% of the time. It's so crazy to think that these changes are possible on the iPhone. But I also do believe that Apple is adding USB-C because the EU is forcing them, but also because they see that the Lightning port is being maxed out. They cannot charge it faster, they cannot send data faster, and then they need to improve the iPhone, improve the specs. The iPhone needs to charge faster, the iPhone needs to keep up with the Android market. And so I think adding USB-C to the iPhone is the good choice. Other than that, I do believe that the rumored solid-state buttons are not going to happen. And so in this design, you can see that the iPhone does not have solid-state buttons, but still the same buttons from the iPhone 14s. I think this is the right call from Apple. The solid-state buttons would just increase complexity on the design and of course increase the cost of the iPhone. I don't see any type of use that I would give to these solid-state buttons. Maybe after Apple markets it, I would use it, but don't see right now, and I cannot think in a way that would be helpful to have on an iPhone. Just increasing costs, not giving too much. And that's the definition of a gimmick. And so I think Apple did the right choice by killing it, by axing the solid-state buttons. The one thing that is changing, and you can see on these renders though, is the silence mute switch. So the mute switch is going away. It's going to be replaced by this action button. This action button is going to be mappable, so you can choose which action does this button initiate. Right now, on the mute switch on the iPhone, you just click it or push it, like it's a switch, not a button. You just push it, and then it just kills your sound, makes your phone in silence mode. While this action button will just give you more options. For example, you can click it and launch the camera app. That would be a very, very cool use for this button. Other uses would be maybe click this button and you can take a photo or start a video, just like a video camera. You can pick up your iPhone and just click it on the action button right here, and you can start recording, or click it and you can take a photo. Maybe you can map this button to call someone, your special one. Maybe you can map this button to start a shortcut, like on the Apple Watch Ultra. If you click on the action button, it will map out a shortcut, and you can turn all of your lights on your home when you enter, or you can turn them off when you leave, or even open your garage door when you get home. So I think there are insane ways to use this action button. This is a pretty cool feature, and the mute switch, if you want it still, it will be available. It will be an available option to just click it and mute your iPhone. I think this is going to be a solid state button though, not a real button, but for the purpose of being a camera button, I just wish it was a physical button. But if Apple wants to give it a solid state action, so it's no button, but it has a motor behind it to simulate the action, the haptic action, maybe that would be also a good choice, because my MacBook's trackpad is also solid state. It's haptic enabled, so it doesn't press or touch, it's just a sheet of aluminium. But when you press it, you get this haptic feedback, and it's really satisfying, and it gives you the sensation of clicking. It's really, really good. And if Apple can replicate that on the next action button on the iPhone 15, that would be pretty cool. Other leaks that we'll talk about during this year were titanium sights, and on these renders I cannot understand that the person that did them actually put titanium sights. But I'm really hopeful that they came out, because titanium is one of my favorite materials. I love it on my Apple Watch Ultra, but I don't think it will happen on the iPhone 15. Why? Because titanium is extremely expensive and extremely difficult to manufacture. And the iPhone 15, I think Apple wants to keep the same price. Although leaks are saying that the iPhone is going to increase the price by $100 and removing the base storage model, so they will keep the same price but removing the base 128GB option, so it will start $100 more than before. I don't think Apple wants to increase more than that, the price. I don't think they will just reduce their profit margins. That's not just like Apple, but I think they will try to reduce ways where they will increase cost by just adding gimmicks. Like I told you, solid state buttons and titanium are two pretty cool features, but they don't pass more than gimmicks. I think titanium is really good for the Apple Watch Ultra, and that would be really good for an Ultra model of the iPhone, but for the normal iPhone Pros and the iPhone 15s, I don't see any necessity to hide in titanium right now. I think if Apple does that, that would be insane. I will be here to buy one, but in my opinion, if you ask me, I don't think they will add it. Leaks have been very quiet about it, and on these renders it's not perceptible if they have titanium sides or not. But I wish, please Apple, had titanium to the iPhone. It will make the iPhone even more resistant, and that's maybe when I stop wearing a case on my phone. If you make your glass, of course, more durable. Ceramic shield is incredible for dropping and breaking your glass, but it's pretty weak against scratches. So Apple, there's your homework for the next iPhones. Please make better glass for the back, for the front, more scratch resistant, and of course break resistant. Other than that, I think that the iPhone 15 is going to be super exciting. This new action button will be pretty cool. This new design will also be more comfortable and really cool to look at. But mainly USB-C will be the biggest thing on the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro. Also, if you are looking to buy the iPhone 15, 15 Plus, the normal iPhones, then be assured that you are getting Dynamic Island. Dynamic Island is coming to the base models. It's pretty cool. For example, right now on the base models you have the same notch that is present on the iPhone 13 Pro Max and 13 Pro, but with the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, Apple added Dynamic Island. If you don't know what Dynamic Island is, it's pretty cool. Dynamic Island is something different and other than a notch. Dynamic Island is just something that adds a new dynamic element to your screen. Makes your notch something useful. It enables you to see your AirPods battery, your song, music, your timer, like your maps directions is really useful. And also enables you to switch between active timers, active music. It's really helpful. Imagine a big and cool task manager on your notch. Imagine if your notch was more than just that space. That's what Dynamic Island is. The only thing that is not that great about Dynamic Island is the fact that developers have not created that much things to support it, because it's only available right now on the iPhone Pro and Pro Max, not the normal people iPhone, and that's why I think developers have not created that much things for it. But with the introduction with the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus, and having, I think in that time, 6 models with Dynamic Island, 14 Pro, 14 Pro Max, 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max, that's it, 6 models, I think developers will still create even more apps for this Dynamic Island. And when that happens, this will be a totally different beast to deal with. But that's not just it for the display. The display will also suffer some new design changes. The bezels are getting smaller on every single model, and I'm really excited for that. I think Apple wants to reduce the footprint of these bezels in order to make the screen to body ratio even more impressive and making the notch less noticeable. So if that happens, then the iPhone 15 will be the least bezeled smartphone ever on the planet. And I'm really excited to see it, because I will cover all the leaks until September, and I will cover the launch of this iPhone 15, 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. And if you are excited, do not forget to drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of those videos. Which color would you like to see on the next iPhone 15, 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max? If you ask me, I would like to see this copper-like color that has been rumored for years, or even another forest green. That was my favorite iPhone color ever, and I would like to see repeated on the iPhone 15 Pro. My iPhone 14 Pro Max is on this very satin black, and I actually love it. It's really cool. But a matte black is not as cool as a forest green, in my opinion. So make this green worth it. In my opinion, that's one of my favorite colors ever on an iPhone, and I'm really excited. But let me know yours in the comments down below. This has been Tech Talking to you here. Bye bye.